In this class, we will be using three main tools: the pen tool, select tool, and burn tool. Let's start with pen. So the pen tool allows you to draw lines by adding anchor points and then curving those lines with the handles at the end of those anchor points. So let's select it. Let's select our pen tool and start with adding one anchor point at the beginning of the line and the second one at the end of the line. Now, if you double click on the anchor point, you will see that there are handles coming out of it on each side, and you can move around those handles to adjust the curve of the line, and the handles themselves can be made smaller or bigger, and that changes the curve as well. We can add another anchor points to the line. Just double click on the line and you can equally move around the handles of this point as well, and you can remove this anchor point by pressing the delete button, and it's gone. The second tool that we'll be using is the select tool, which looks like a little arrow, and it allows us to select and move shapes and points as well in our page. Let's start by clicking on the select tool, which is on top of your toolbox, and it allows you to move around the shapes. So you can see you can just click on another shape and move it around as well. Just make sure you have the auto select option chosen, because otherwise clicking on the shapes will not do anything. So it's under the gear icon on top of your screen, and if it's ticked, you can move the shapes around. And the third tool that we're going to be using is a burn tool, which allows you to darken the shapes a little bit to add 3D effect to them. Now, this one is a little bit more complex, but first let me show you how it works, and then we can move on to the process that we will be using in the class. Now here I want to work with the round shape, so I'm just going to move this layer to the top, and I'm going to turn it into pixels so it's flat, and I can work the burn tool on it. So I'm selecting the burn tool, and as you can see, there's like three options there to burn: the highlights, the midtones, and the darks. And I'm just gonna use all of those a little bit on this shape just to show you how they work differently with the color. However, we will be using slightly different approach in this class that will allow us to change the color of the main shape while keeping the same burn pattern. So the process here is a little bit longer and perhaps more complex, but it makes things easier later on in the process. First, let me go through the steps with you quickly, and then I will show you how it actually works in practice. So what we would do first is click on the shape that we want to work with, duplicate it with our Command key, Shift key, and D key pressed all together. We would change its color to white without any stroke. Next, we'll convert the white shape to pixels, change its blending to multiply, and then with our burning tool, we will burn the highlights of the shape. Let's see how it actually looks in action. So here I will select my circle shape that I want to work with, duplicate it, change its color to white, and put it in exactly the same position as the main layer. I will convert it into pixels and change its blending to multiply, and it looks like it disappeared, but it didn't. So with the burn tool, I would select my highlights as the shape is initially white, and I'm gonna just burn the edge of it with the highlights burner, and then I will use a little bit of midtones burner in the middle there as well. But already you can see that the circle has turned into a sphere just with this burn on the side there. If we select the bottom layer, which is pink at the moment, we can change the color of it to whatever we like, and the shading layer that is on top of it is going to stay the same. And then if we choose to deselect it, you can see the difference that the shading makes in this point.